5 reasons to stop running your business under the table and what you need to do instead. What up? You got Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And in this video, I want to talk about 5 quick reasons of why you should stop running your business under the table. And by running it under the table, I mean not claiming the income or just making the money and sweeping it under the rug, so to speak. And if you click this video and if you saw the title, then I'm sure you knew what running a business under the table mean. And this video was inspired by a conversation I had earlier. And I was just kind of listening and hearing certain things. And I know people do this, and I get the mindset of why they do this. And barbers and beauticians are known for doing this. But I think it's mostly because we're uninformed in certain areas. Now, I will say this. Get with your professional, your tax professional, and determine whether or not what I say is a good fit for you. This is for educational and based on experiences only that I feel has helped me, that I feel might help you. So I'm gonna give you 5 reasons of why you should stop running your business under the table, because you might be doing yourself a disservice. And that's actually number 1. Number 1 is that you're doing yourself a disservice. For one, you got to understand, if you're in business, your duty is to serve people. So you're providing service in many cases, or you're selling a product that serves them for whatever reason it serves them. So you're providing a service. But by doing it under the table, you kind of limit what you're able to do in terms of putting yourself all the way out there, because you're keeping it under the table, hence doing yourself a disservice while you're trying to serve other people. So that's number 1. You got to understand that you limit your capabilities because you're too busy trying to stay under the radar in some cases, or not do certain things because you feel like you're running it under the table. It's doing you more of a disservice than you may realize if you're operating in that manner. Now, I get it, from certain angles of people who collect cash and all of that, they don't necessarily do certain things in a certain way, and it hinders them being able to track certain things sometimes if you're not disciplined or have systems and processes in place. But running it under the table is, number 1, doing you and your business a disservice when you just think about it, because of the limitations that you automatically place on yourself. That's number 1. Number 2, you limit your cash flow when you're running it under the table. Now, many people who are running their business under the table typically are running their business basically as a side gig, a side hustle, a part-time thing. And that's great, because I understand having a side hustle, side gig, and I definitely think everybody should who has a job. So by side hustle, side gig, that means that your primary source of income typically may be from a job. So I get doing something as a side hustle, side gig, but once you know better, you got to do better. You make those switches because it'll benefit you. But you limit yourself in terms of your cash flow is because what you got to understand, there are incentives to you having a job and having a business simultaneously. Many people don't know that. That used to be a question I used to ask around all the time, because we've been teaching people how to do certain things, implement an income shifting strategy, get access to a membership that teaches all sorts of things that encourage people who have a job to not just have a job, but also have a side hustle. So I used to ask people, did you know that by you having a job as well as a business on the side, that you can legally get a pay raise at your job without asking your boss? I used to ask that question verbatim, pretty much. And so they used to be like, nah, I didn't know that. Nah, I didn't know that. Most people didn't know that. Now, the question itself might sound kind of funny, but when you think about it, all I'm saying is this. If you have a job and a business on the side, the cash flow that you're missing out is the incentive or the strategy that we've been teaching for years now, known as income shifting. People who have a job have the ability to change their W-4 when they deem necessary based on when their situation changes. You get married, you have kids, you get a promotion, you get, a bonus, you get a business. It's a ton of different reasons of why you would want to change your W-4, just in general. But we also realize that over 100 million Americans have been overpaying their taxes for some time now, which is 80% of people walking around with a job are overpaying in taxes. So they need to adjust their W-4 in general, just because they may be overpaying in taxes. That's one thing. But when you have a business, not only do you need to revisit your W-4, you had the ability to give yourself an even heightened or more heightened pay raise, because by having a business, you can actually qualify for more allowances. And they don't do it in terms of allowances, but you qualify to keep more of your paycheck legally. And I tell you how to offset it, because a lot of people think, well, if I just my W-4, I'm going, oh, I don't have to pay in. I don't want to have to pay in. I like my lump sum. Listen, when I first implemented this strategy, I didn't have to pay in. In fact, I got almost double what I would have got, and I didn't have any kids at all because it was just a strategy that I was unaware of. But when I implemented it, I'm like, oh, I've been missing out on money because I did not know this information. So you're missing out on some cash flow that can come from your regular job just because you're trying to run your business under the table. Imagine what an extra $200 to $800 coming back into your household can do for you, can do for your business, can do for the other things I'm about to get into. So it's missing out on cash flow, because the next three things, the next two things I'm about to go over, go hand to hand. So by you missing out on cash flow, you're also hindering your savings, because the cash flow that you missed could have went towards things that could have positioned you to have more money saved in different areas, just to kind of have it in the event you need it, kind of thing. So you're minimizing the savings because of the limited cash flow that you may be experiencing by trying to run your business under the table. And then the next thing is you're minimizing your investments, because the extra cash flow can not only go to savings, we also encourage you to be investing. I don't care if it's $5 a day, $30 a month, which is $1 a day. You want to be investing, putting your money in a place that has the potential to grow. You want to be doing it. So if you're not increasing your cash flow and putting your money into savings and investing, and I ain't even getting to paying off debt and things of that nature, if you have it, then all of those things are being hindered by you running your business under the table, because it's other things that you can qualify for that allow you to increase your cash flow in other areas. And if you use it strategically, it builds your net worth. So those three things that I just mentioned, cash flow, savings, and investments, are all things that contribute to your your net worth, which can be fueled by your business if you're not running it under the table, trying to, keep the expenses on the low. So you got to understand the power in that by you being out there and letting it be known, look, I'm in business. I qualify for certain things. Let me go ahead and maximize in these areas, because it helps to grow your net worth. And this last one is one actually that takes the cake and makes everything possible. So I saved it for a reason. So number 5, quick recap. Number 1, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're running your business under the table. Number 2, you're minimizing your cash flow, which minimizes your savings, which minimizes your investments. And I put 2, 3, and 4 together and just call that net worth, because that's what you're limiting. So number 5, you're missing out on a ton of tax deductions. A ton. The conversation I was having earlier today, and we was discussing, the call was initially about credit, restoring credit restoration. As a client or a new client of mine, and basically, she hired our services for credit restoration, and I gave her some pet peeves of things that she needs to do on her end and things I'll be doing on my end. And I also gave a suggestion of something to consider, which went down the trickle of conversation of having the discussion about her business. And I was like, so you in business? She was like, yeah, but I'm kind of running it under the table. And she even whispered it. She even kind of said that part on the low. And she's great spirit, great energy, just a overall great person. So we had great conversation. So this is not a knock or bash. Everything that I'm saying to you right now, I said to her so I can equip her to really take advantage of all of these things. And she was like, yeah, I'm glad I had this conversation, because you're enlightening me on certain things. And that's what it's all about. Sometimes you just need a little exposure, a little light in order to move to the next level, whether you hire our services or, you consider us to assist you in your credit, or the resource that I'm going to tell you to plug into, whether you do that or not. Just that light, me lighting your candle and sparking your mind, may push you in a positive direction in terms of your wealth, your knowledge, your business, who knows. But tax deductions, you're missing out on a ton of tax deductions. What you got to understand is home-based business owners, small businesses in general, have over 400 tax deductions that you get access to. But not if you're running your business under the table. If you're running your business under the table and you're scared to claim income, then you also miss out on the ability to claim expenses, which are tax deductions. And that's a major key, because what you have to understand is that if you work a job and you have a business on the side, and you are making money in that business. Some people think, well, I don't want the government to know about this money that I made. I made an extra 10,000 this year with my business, or I made an extra this amount. I don't want them to know about that. They not really studying that $10,000, because what they know is that, okay, you don't want to claim this $10,000. I'm sure you had some expenses associated with making that $10,000. Most people don't make a $10,000 free and clear without some form of expenses. You either have to pay for some type of product, you have to pay for some type of service, some type of shipping fee, mailing fee. You might have to drive some miles in order to deliver. You may have to do some marketing on your phone, or have phone conversations and do different things that require you to spend money some way, shape, form, fashion. All of those things that I just listed are things that could be tax deductible. So if you made 10,000, you might look back and realize that you had 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 in expenses that you can legally claim, because now you're recording your income. But oh, you also get to write off the mileage that you did incorporated with what was your business. Oh, you also get to write off the supplies that was required in order for you to carry out that business. Oh, you also get to write off the internet, because you needed some internet services in order to conduct the business due to your online platforms. And you might get a percentage of your phone. My phone bill is 100% tax deductible. I record and do all kind of stuff on my phone, marketing, my scheduler, my planner, everything. If it wasn't for that, a lot of the things that we're able to pull off wouldn't be possible. The internet, the whole 9 yards, is tax deductible because we are running a business using these devices. So you are doing some of the same things, but you might not be aware that you should be writing those things off as tax deductions. So don't shy away from writing off money that you made. Just make sure you're keeping the records, because that's what it boils down to, record keeping. You want to make sure you're keeping the records. And I'm going to give you a resource of something that I recommend. I recommend that everybody have a money membership. And the money membership that we personally recommend, it'll be down below. You should be able to click bit.ly/royalty K or royalty Q, whatever I have down there, and just go ahead and set up your membership. Or if you want to watch a presentation, cool, that's on you. But basically, the money membership houses a software that you can use in order to track your expenses, take pictures of receipts, so you're not trying to keep up with all these different receipts. You're able to take pictures, type in the details, save it. It's there. You're able to track mileage, put certain things in there, save it. It's there. You're doing this throughout the year. Now, when it's time to file taxes, you hand it out to your tax professional. But not all tax professionals are created equally. Make sure that tax professional understands the advantages of a home-based business and are up to date on the laws that go with those home-based business deductions. Because if you just allow anybody to do your taxes and they don't know about the tax advantages of a home-based business, then what's going to happen is you're going to miss out on money, because they're going to be scared for you to claim some of the things you're claiming, like your phone bill, like certain mileage, like certain expenses on supplies. And they're going to minimize the potential that you can have by actually claiming those business deductions. There are hundreds out there, but really all you need is a strong 12. Strong 12 will get you right. And you'll know if your tax professional is astute in the tax advantages of a home-based business, because it's a good chance that they will make sure that they have a home-based business. They may be running their tax business from their home, or their home is a portion of how they operate their business. Because if a person understands thoroughly the tax advantages of a home-based business, it's no way in the world they wouldn't have that vehicle to utilize to get tax deduction, unless they just got so many tax deductions that the home-based business side doesn't matter as much. But it's so many powerful pieces to having a home-based business that sometimes it can outweigh some of the things that a person might get access to by being an LLC or incorporated and all of that. And you can take that one to the bank. Sometimes it's even more incentives by having a home-based business. Just something to think about. So make sure your tax professional understands that, because if you limit yourself from getting access to all of these different tax deductions, now you minimize all of the potential that you could have had to build wealth, to make sure your business was prospering. It incentivizes you to reinvest in your business, whether you pay for marketing, whether you pay for training, whether you pay for information. And the platform that I just told you to get access to, it is tax deductible. So the minute you invest in yourself and pay for it, you can save that transaction, log it in, and now you're collecting your tax deductions throughout the year. And many people miss out on over $10,000 in tax deductions. I'm gonna wrap up with this, because I was talking to the queen, and she did kind of make note of that they have an empty nest. Basically, her children are grown and they're out of the house. And most of the time when that happens, some people are wanting to pay more in taxes at their job because they don't want to owe because they no longer have kids to offset it. So that's kind of the idea that she had in mind, and many people do that. So I get it, but when you know better, you do better. So since that's the case, what you got to understand is tax deductions almost are equivalent to you having children. Just like you claiming your kids when you file your taxes, offsets your tax liability and makes it so that you get a higher refund or you get some credits or things of that nature. Consider your tax deductions like having children in a sense because it does a similar thing. Now you won't qualify for child tax credit stuff like that if that's the category you fall into. But what it does is lower your tax liability. So the more tax deductions you have, the more taxes you can legally pay less on, or the less income you have to pay taxes on because it lowers your tax liability. And I'll say this because sometimes people like that kind of terrified on paying little to no taxes. If Amazon was able to be $1 billion company and still was able to pay $0 in taxes a particular year, I think they paid a little bit. Well, now I say $1 billion company, it was $1 trillion company when I think this happened. But anyway, they paid little to no taxes on a couple other years and zero taxes one particular year. What makes you believe that you can't benefit from some of them same tax laws? Now it may not be to that level, but I know people who make 100,000 or more that pay zero taxes legally. I know people who make less than 100,000 that pay zero taxes legally, and they're reporting all of their income and things of that nature. And what you want to be careful of, because if you're doing a business and say, for instance, you're running a business through like a Shopify, you got some type of account that incorporates a merchant account or a PayPal or things of that nature. Some of these platforms will be issuing out 1099s or basically showing that you have to sign a W-9 and you made over $600 for that year. So if that's the case, you definitely want to be recording your income and your tax deduction, because if they issue out that paper on their record side, it shows that, okay, this person made this amount of money, so we send out a W-9. But if you're not claiming it because you're too busy keeping money under the table, I don't know if that can come back on you, but it seems like it might be able to. You want to be able to take that W-9 that they give you and be able to file it on your taxes, but to go along with it, you also have filed your income, you've also filed your tax deductions, and then many times it puts you in a better position from a tax standpoint, cash flow standpoint, wealth standpoint, net worth standpoint, all because you didn't do it under the table. So hopefully at least one of those nuggets made sense enough to you to say, you know what, let me revisit this. And if you want access to the platform that I'm referring to, you can visit makeweeklymoney.com, and it talks about the business side overall, the lifestyle changes, how you can save money on travel and all of that. But the foundation is financial literacy. The foundation is income shifting. You better your credit, your finances overall. You having that software as a business owner. So this is a complement to your business. You might not necessarily want to run that as a business, but the foundation of it can position you to make sure that your business is running properly, and get with your tax professional to make sure they understand the tax advantages so they can have you on track. So hopefully you got something from that. Let me know your biggest takeaway, if any. Let me know if you are familiar with tax advantages and you benefited from writing off expenses. Put that in the comments so other people can see that it's a real thing, because a lot of people just need to see that other people are doing it in order for them to feel a little bit more confident. And over time, they'll develop the confidence to do it for themselves after they see other people. So if you have a personal scenario where you benefited from tax deduction, put that in the comments. If you got takeaways, put it in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you have not already. That's all I got for this video. Mr. Smith signing out. Salute.